Great. So we'll get started. So does everybody have the sheet, access to the sheet that Lucas circulated? Okay, you're going to need that. Okay, so what we'll do is go through the practical steps of registering a CIC. How do you actually do that, and what do the documents look like? What do you need to put in? Before I go into that, is there anybody here who's already been through the process and has already registered a CIC? Chido, you have. How did you find the process?
Yeah, it was because I had a bit of information, did a bit of research before, so I kind of knew some of the things that I needed to put in what box. So I would say it was okay for me to do.
Okay, great. Was there anything that you thought was particularly hard? What was the hardest bit of the application?
I think the CIC 36, is that the form that you
36,
write?
yeah.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
activities. I was
Yeah.
worried that if I've put information and I need to change in the future, will that affect me?
Yeah.
I think you covered it earlier on. So that's the
Great.
bit I was, and there was the other document. What's I don't know the names, by the way. Is it
The articles of association. So
yes,
the yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I had to get a bit of help to do that because it's
Okay.
quite more legal language. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Great. So we'll focus quite a lot on the CIC 36 form because as Chiro is saying, that is the slightly trickier bit to get right. The articles of association, I'll show them to you. They're actually really easy to do. And Lucas has, for all of you, I think in your folders, a model set of articles where you basically don't have to change much. You just have to write the name of your company and he can help you through that. But I will show you that document as well and show you what it looks like and what it says, etc. But we'll spend more time practically doing the CIC 36 form. So in the worksheet that you have, we've taken the example of Coffee with Kids, which is a Turn alumni, as the example that we're going to register. I can work with that example. I know how to do that, but I think it would be more helpful maybe to some of you, better for some of you, if we can work with a live example. So if any of you are sort of feeling ready to take that step where you want to have a draft set of documents ready, you don't have to submit them, no pressure. But is there anybody who's feeling like they don't mind acting as the model for this, and then we can help you together to get your documents ready, and everybody can see how that's done? If you're not comfortable, we'll just use the example in the worksheet. Fuad, am I pronouncing your name correctly? I think you're muted.
Yes, yeah. I
Yes.
was like, because I have two screens here, so sorry for like looking weird on the camera. Yes, I would love to try.
Amazing. Okay. So we won't get everything 100% right, but we will get you to a point where you have some documents and everybody else sees how you're doing that. And hopefully it helps their process as well. So I'm just going to share screen so everybody's looking at the same thing. So we're going to set up your organization. The first thing that we need to have a sense of is a name. Do you have a name yet? If not, we can make something up.
Yeah, I don't have a name yet. However, we can write like more than like I have more than a concept.
Okay. So the first thing we want to check is that available as your name? So we're going to click on check the company's name availability. And so are we going to call it more than a
concept?
Okay. So we want the company to be called more than a concept. Let's see. So no exact company name matches for more than a concept. That means you're good to go. If we put in something that existed, like Coffee with Kids, for example, you would see the company name is considered to be the same as this existing name. So you can't use that name. So the first thing we know, okay, you're good to go as far as the company name is concerned. Great. Next thing we want to check is, does your name have any sensitive words that require special permission? So I would bet that your name doesn't have sensitive words, but let's click on the link and see. So this is a list of all of the words that are considered sensitive. So let's look for concept. No, it doesn't come up as a sensitive word. If you wanted to name it something like more than a bank, let's say, and we looked for bank, you'll see bank comes up as a sensitive word. And it says, to use this, you're going to have to get an email of consent from the Financial Conduct Authority. You don't want to go through that. I mean, lots of people do, but worth checking that your name doesn't contain a sensitive word. So good to go on that front. Okay,
Amazing.
number 3, we're going to look at your articles of association. Now, articles of association is the document that governs everything about your organization, and it is the thing that sets up the legal form. So it is the legal document that creates the legal form of a community interest company. So you click on the link, and luckily the government provides lots of model articles that you can use. You can use this form, or you can use the version that Lucas has downloaded. So basically his version is based on the government's version with a couple of tweaks that help for turn ideas into action cohort people. So they have a couple of changes. So maybe use that format, but you can also use this. So we're looking at model constitutions, company limited by guarantee. And then you'll have small membership or large membership. So the first question is, do you expect your company, your community interest company, to have a small group of people who are involved in governing it? Or do you expect to have tons of people? Is it a large community organization that you're putting together? My bet is that it's a small one, but let me know if I'm wrong about that.
No, it's all right. I just need to understand what's the meaning of small. Is it like 5, 6 people, or like it's under 20? Yeah, okay.
5, 6 people. A large organization is one where you might have lots of, let's say, other organizations that are members of your organization. You might have tons of different people who are involved in kind of governing your organization. So this works for, kind of networked groups and organizations. Okay. But usually when you're setting up and you're an individual and you're maybe coming together with 2 or 3 other supporters, that will be a small based organization. Yeah. So I would bet 95% of people in this program would go for the small membership articles. So we're going to click on small membership articles of association. So that's downloaded the articles for me. Let me just share. Let me just open them up. Okay. Are you seeing the new document on my screen, or is it still showing the old? Yeah. Okay, great. So it'll show you articles of association. So literally over here, you will insert your name. So, sorry, more than a concept. And all companies need to have, you know how normal companies will have limited at the end? Community interest companies always have to. Yeah. So community interest companies always have to have either the full word community interest company, or my preference is to just have CIC. Okay. So you don't have LTD, but you'll have CIC. So that's the name of your company. You have that sorted. And then these are all of the legal provisions. And so as you can see on, let me just make it a bit bigger. As you can see in the index, this document basically sets out everything about how your organization needs to be run. So who are the directors? What are their powers and responsibilities? How do they make decisions? For example, if you have 3 directors, you probably need at least 2 of them in a room to be making decisions together, so that it's not just one person making all decisions. How do those directors get appointed, and how do they leave? So appointment and retirement of directors, there needs to be a process that's followed. So usually it is just the directors vote for the other directors. So you have you plus your 2 friends, and you're going to say, we want to bring this other person in because they're really good. And so you vote together, and that's the process you have for bringing people in. So a lot of this is relatively simple and intuitive, but it is the process that's laid out over here that you need to follow. So it's worth getting familiar with this document as you set up. It also has lots of things around membership, meetings, how you hold meetings, etc. Now, the key parts of this, the first thing is the asset lock, which Samara talked about earlier. So you can literally see the asset lock in operation here in red. And the reason why it's in red is because it's a key feature of the community interest company, which means you can't change that text. So if you try and make changes to that text and submit it, they're going to send it back and say rejected. So this literally says what Samara was explaining, but in legal terms, which is you, as a kick, you can't transfer any of your assets for a discount, so other than for full consideration, and that any transfers have to comply with various conditions. So basically, it's saying your assets are locked for the use of your community, and that's what the asset lock essentially is. You don't need to change anything in these articles except for your objects. So here's where you're going to put in your community purpose. So I know it's putting you on the spot a little bit, but do you have a sentence that you might be able to tell me for what more than a concept is about?
Yeah, it's about delivering training and consultation for organization works with young people. This is like the big one, like is to make it like more specific, like about youth participation and understanding lived experience.
Something like that. It might not be perfect, but roughly.
You're not saving it. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So roughly along those lines. Now, I think the key thing here is you want your objects to be broad enough that if you change your mind in time, it's broad enough to encompass that change. But you don't want it to be so broad that it's meaningless. So, for example, if you know that this organization is always going to work with youth, and you're not extending it to like adults or old people, then fine, have youth in there. If you think over time, actually, it's going to broaden out and you might go beyond that, you might want to say to deliver training and consultations for organizations working with people, including but not limited to youth, or in particular with youth, something like that. That kind of helps hedge that a bit. Similarly, if there are other people in the group who are thinking, I want to set this up for, let's say, refugee communities or people in my neighborhood where I live, like Brixton or Bexley or whatever, think about whether you want that to be the limitation or whether you want to put in something that widens that a little bit so that you're saying, I want to work with these communities, including but not limited to the kind of this smaller focus.
Yeah. In main idea, it's about young refugees and asylum seekers, but because I understood that, so I put like young people in general.
Yes.
But like I like the idea of including, not limited to.
Yes. With including in particular young people, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do here. So that's one sentence long. The only other thing that I'll flag in these articles of association is that as part of the asset lock, what the articles ask for is if for some reason your organization shuts down, so it becomes insolvent or you decide to close it down, and what happens if there are assets left in the organization. So if there's a little bit of money left over, or if there's equipment or you own some property, like what's going to happen to that? What the legislation requires is whatever's left over after the organization shuts down has to go to another body that is also asset locked. So that is to ensure that you can't just transfer the assets to yourself for your personal use. It needs to go to something that has a community purpose. So the way that these articles deal with that is saying, can you specify, can you nominate an asset locked body in your articles so that we know that if you ever shut down, your assets will go to this particular body? And generally, that body needs to be either a charity or another community interest company, because those are the asset locked bodies. Okay. You might say, okay, I know lots of people in Ideas into Action, so I will nominate somebody else who's doing something similar so that I know the assets go to that organization. That's one option. The other, and I think Lucas's model articles have this, is just to say, I promise I will transfer my assets to another asset locked body. I don't know which one that is right now, but I will get the permission of the regulator to make that transfer at the relevant time. So you can
Amazing,
have
yeah.
either formulation, but yeah, so it's entirely up to you. Those are the only two bits of the articles you need to worry about during registration. You should read through the articles so that you know how to govern your organization when it's set up. But there's nothing else that you need to do with this document. Any questions before I move on?
Oh no, thank you.
Okay.
For me, sorry.
Yes, if I don't write the log, I can change this log action. If I after sometimes see and know some organization, how I will change this article of organizations and what I need to do to change?
It's a bit of a hassle to change them. So you have to basically pass what's called a resolution to change your articles of association. So it needs a document. You need to file the updated document with Companies House again. So it's a bit of a process that you go through. So if you're not sure right now, I would just say, leave it open-ended and say, I promise I'll transfer it to another asset lock body with the consent of the regulator. And then you have the option later to transfer it to whichever asset lock body you want. But if you do nominate something, you can change your mind about it, but it's just a bit of a hassle to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I think Mehdi also has a question as well. Mehdi, could you ask your questions, please?
Sure.
Hello. Hey, Kara.
Hi.
Good to see you. Just let me see. I have two questions. One is
Sure.
I registered my company last summer, as a limited company. Okay. Can I change it now to CIC or add
Yes.
something to it to become like community interest?
Yes, you can change a limited company to a community interest company. That's fine. And I can message you after this and just flag the form that you need to fill out to be able to do that.
Okay.
But it's not super complicated.
Great. And another question. Thanks for this. And since I registered my company, I haven't made any like money or any trading. Do I need to still pay tax or no?
No, you only pay corporation tax on profits at the end of the year. So if there's no profit, you're not paying any tax on it in
So
any
do I need
case.
to tell them I haven't made any money or just I don't need to do anything?
So for most companies, you need to file what's called a annual return at the end of each financial year. So it
Okay.
depends on when you set up the company. Let's say you set it up in, I don't know, November 2022. Usually your financial year end will be November 2023. So a year later. And then you have 9 months after your financial year end to file your accounts. And usually if there's been no activity with the company, I think it's a really straightforward kind of form that you fill out that says there's been no activity in this company, but it's more of an accounting question. I've never done one of those forms.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm not
Do you know where I
100%
can
sure.
get the form or I should Google it? Just...
We know a couple of accountants, so I can link you with them if that helps.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Is everybody seeing my screen again with the worksheet?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's go on to the form KIC 36, which is the slightly more, it's still a really easy form, but let's go through it now. So again, the government provides the models for these forms. Kamal.
Hi, Kaya.
Hi.
Yeah, I've got a question about my organization. It's an US company that provides solutions for individuals and institutions. I'm not sure which category that fall under.
Do you mean which type of company you want to set up.
Yes, yes. And it's for
And
community, providing like educational and an awareness about the environment as well.
is it okay if we come back to this, because it might be it might be a community interest company, it could be a charity, there might be 2 or 3 different forms that you could consider depending on, how you want to raise money, how quickly you want to set it up, who else is involved. So if it's okay to come back to this once we're out of the breakout room in the Q&A, then we can go into it a little bit more with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Great. So I'm conscious we're slightly running out of time. So let me just come to questions after I open the KIC 36 form. So here you go, form KIC 36, application to incorporate a community interest company. And then I am just going to open this up and make sure you can see it. Okay, is everybody seeing the KIC 36? Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put in your company name, More Than a Concept Community Interest Company. And then you need to make sure the exact same thing appears all the way through the document. So we called it a CIC. And then you just copy and paste it so that there are no discrepancies in the rest of the document, wherever company name appears, because they will send the form back if there are any differences. So the company's activities will provide benefit too. So would you mind repeating what you had said to me for the objects?
Yeah. Do you want to like the like who I'm providing the services for? Or like the whole thing?
The whole thing. Yeah, the couple of sentences that we talked about. So a short description of the community or section of the community, which is it is intended that the company will benefit.
Delivering training and consultation.
Mm-hmm.
Delivering services to organizations work with young people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like, I don't want, if you want me to say like that include universities, universities, charities, not limited to universities, charities, councils.
And what is the purpose? What is the community purpose? So by delivering trainings, what are you achieving?
To empower young people.
Yeah.
Young people, to enhance participation.
Yeah.
And to deliver better services, like the services going to like I'm just telling you, the service is going to be enhanced by young people participating in decision making.
Yeah. Better services for youth, shall we say, for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to change system. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe some refining to be done. This is obviously written out really fast, but roughly this is about the amount of detail that you want to provide. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences more at maximum, but not more than this. And you're giving an overview, but very importantly, you need to describe what is the community benefit. So if you just said, I want to provide training to young people, that is insufficient. So you need to do that extra line around empowering young people, enhancing participation, delivering better services, and that explains the community benefit. And then here you need to break that down a little bit more. So what are your activities and how will they benefit? So over here is where you go into a little bit more detail. So you might say something like, correct me if I'm wrong over here, but I'm just going to say things like youth workshops and training sessions led by young people, let's say. And then how will this benefit the community? It trains young people in delivering these workshops, and it enhances the services ultimately provided to them. Something like that.
Yeah. It's not like that, but like it's all right. I know you are doing
Sorry,
just an example, so it's all right.
Yeah, I'm just doing an example. You maybe want to give one or two more kind of concrete examples. So, we'll deliver this kind of workshop. Sorry, are we breaking up?
8 seconds to go back, just to let you know.
Okay. All right. I think this does the most of it, but what you should do is look at the example, the Coffee with Kids registration information here. If you click on it, it will give you their form. So you can look at the level of detail that they've provided.
Amazing.
Okay. Sorry, we slightly ran out of time, but hopefully that was helpful. Those are the only 2 documents you need to submit. And then all you need to do is register through here. So you click on the link, and then you set up an account, a government account, and you submit your forms. And then you wait for a week and you're registered. That's it.
Week. Amazing.